Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, text number 28. Annam chorurasam tebhyo Dattva bhagavad arpanam Govi partha savashuraha Pranimur bhuvi murdhabhi Annam chorurasam tebhyo Dattva bhagavad arpanam Govipra arthasavaha shuraha Pranimur bhuvi murdhabhi Annam chorurasam tebhyo Dattva bhagavad arpanam Goviprartha savaha shuraha Pranimur bhuvi murdhabhi. Thereafter they offered the Brahmins highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to personality of a Godhead and offered their respective obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and Brahmins. Purport. The behavior exhibited by the descendants of Yadu in the pilgrimage site of Prabhasa was a highly cultured and exactly to the point of a human perfection. The perfection of a human life is attained by following three principles of civilization: protecting the cows, maintaining the Brahminical culture, and above all, becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. Without becoming a devotee of the Lord, one cannot perfect one's human life. The perfection of a human life is to be elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age. That is the highest perfectional aim of human life. Without this aim, any amount of material advancement in so-called comforts can only bring the defeat of the human form of a life. So this first paragraph itself gives the clear idea about what are the three basic principles of a human civilization. Civilization means which is formed with some basic rules and regulation to attain a same purpose of a life. And the human civilization means to attain the real purpose of a life in the human form of a life. And what is that? First, go vipraha, protecting the cows, protecting the brahmanas, and bhagavada arpanam, and offering everything that we do to the Lord. That's the basic three principles of a human civilization. And unless and until one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, he will not attain the real perfection of a life. We say that today's society is modern and civilized. But what sense? Does it provide, fulfills the basic principles of a human civilization that has explained here? Do they protect cows? Are they taking care of a brahmanas? Or whether they are endeavoring to become a devotee of the Lord? Nothing. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam says, Shrama evahi kevalam. Whatever you may do for gratifying your senses with a different ways and process or accepting so many things, but unless and until you won't become a devotee of the Lord, the purpose will not get fulfilled. And it is clearly mentioned that Sam Siddhir Haritoshanam. The real perfection of a life is to please their Lordship. And how you can please their Lordship? By serving and protecting the cows and brahmanas. Further, Prabhupada explained in his purport, he says, Brahmins and Vaishnavas do not accept any foodstuff which is not first offered to the personality of a Godhead. Foodstuff offered to the Lord is accepted by the devotees as the mercy of the Lord. After all, the Lord supplies all kinds of a foodstuff, both to the human being and other animals. A human being must be conscious of the fact that all foodstuffs, namely grains, vegetables, milk, water, etc., the prime necessities of life, are supplied for mankind by the Lord, and such a foodstuff cannot be manufactured by any scientist or materialist in a laboratory or a factory established by human effort. So again, the most essential necessities of a life, who supplies that to us? That is explained here by Prabhupada. People who are atheistic, they say that, hey, what is this? Do you think that is provided by God? Nature is giving us. But generally, when you use word nature, that means it belongs to someone. Or that person's nature is not good. Huh? If you think it has provided by the nature, then whose nature? And our Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhyakshana prakriti suyatecha shara charam. Under my control, this material nature works. Everything which is movable, immovable, that work under the control of Prakriti, the material nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. And even in the factories also, it's not that the human being, they are producing something by their own effort. Unless and until that things, they are operated by the modes of material nature, it will not work. Nothing works without the sanction of the Lord and without the provocation of material nature. So even you have to run your factories, you need to get things from the material nature. Like to produce a steel, you need to get a iron ore from mines. And mines are not manufactured in any sort of factories. They are naturally available. So all the resources to produce something in this material world, they are supplied by the nature which belongs to the Lord. And unless and until you recognize that and show your gratitude to that supplier, you will not considered as a human being. The modern leaders of the societies, they are giving more emphasis on industrialization than to cultivate the natural resources, to preserve them, to protect them. They try to exploit them. And what happens due to that? As explained in Mahabharata, when a king or a leader, when he tries to exploit the natural resources, then Mother Earth, she hides them. The same thing that Maharaj Prithu, before Maharaj Prithu's birth happened, when Vena, his father, became so demoniac and thirsty, and he started ruling the whole earth very cruelly. He was going against the Vedic principle. He was claiming himself God. He stopped the protection of the cows and brahmanas and performance of different yagyas for the pleasure of Vishnu. And he said, being the king, I am the real God. So worship me, not any gods. And then what happened? Mother Earth, she covered all the resources. And that's what's happening now. In our childhood, we have seen, like where we used to grow up, generally before rain starts, they used to just dig 4 or 5 feet of earth, and there they used to get the water. And that water they used to use for the whole cultivation of the farm. And after harvesting, they used to pack that resource. And whenever it was needed, they used to just dig it again 4 5 feet, and they used to get enough water. होता था ना खेतों में पहले बेलगाम में आपने मंदिर के सामने ही देखते थे वो फार्म कल्टीवेशन के लिए बस 7 8 फुट का गड्ढा खोद दिया पानी आ गया कुएं जैसा वहां पे खेती में लगा दिया और फिर खत्म हुआ खेती का अनाज उपज आने के बाद वापस उसको बंद कर दिया इट वाज जस्ट 10 20 years back and now the same place they have to put a boring and they go up to the 100 and 200 feet down still there is no water because resources are covered by Mother Earth. Same land, same tract of a land, but the mentality of a people when got changed, the material nature also start changing its giving propensity. During the kingdom of Maharaj Yudhishthir, whenever there used to be rain, that used to happen after evening, mostly in the first and second part of the night. There used to be a profuse rain so that people they will not get disturbed in their daily routine. And next day morning again there is a nice bright sunlight. And now there are disasters. Just last few weeks we are seeing that Houston there was a problem with a hurricane and cyclone and rain. Bombay is again inundated with the water. Same time, at some part of the world there is a totally dry drought. People are suffering because there is no water. There are people, they are suffering because of there is too much of water. So when material nature is also behaving so whimsically, because the human civilization is trying to exploit the resources for their own sense gratification. If you go to Gulf countries, you will see vertically they have gone kilometers down to extract oil from the earth. In one of the lectures, Prabhupada says this demonic kind of personalities, they are raping the Mother Earth for gratifying their own desires. And that's what's happening. That's not the way of a human civilization. Then Prabhupada further says, the intelligent class of a men are called Brahmins, and those who have realized the absolute truth in his supreme personal feature are called Vaishnavas. But both of them accept foodstuffs which are the remnants of sacrifice. Sacrifice is ultimately mean to satisfy the Yajna Purusha, Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 13th verse, it is said that one who accepts foodstuff as a remnant of sacrifice is freed from all sinful reaction. And one who cooks foodstuff for maintenance of his body takes in all kinds of sins, which lead only to suffering. The foodstuffs prepared by the Yadus at the Prabhas pilgrimage site to offer to the bona fide Brahmins, there were all offered to this personality of a Godhead Vishnu. The Yadus offer their sincere obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. The Yadus or any enlightened family in a Vedic culture are trained for attainment of a human perfection by total cooperation of a service between the different divisions of a social orders. So now, again Prabhupada is explaining about Brahmanas, who are Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and what do they eat in this world. Prabhupada describes the most intelligent class of a human civilization is Brahmins. And who are these Brahmins? He specifically mentions that Brahmins means who are intelligent and who accept the presence of a God. And who are Vaishnavas? Vaishnavas are who accepts the personal form of the Lord. So need to be understood. In last century, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave a wonderful discourse on what is Brahmana and what is Vaishnava in Midnapur. In the beginning, he glorified Brahmanas, quoting different references from the scriptures. And all the Brahmanas, they were like a high on the seventh sky or seventh cloud, you can say. And after that, he started beating up the Brahmanas who are just Brahmanas by birth and not having any other qualification that Brahmana is supposed to have. And then the Jati Brahmanas, they became so deadly against to his divine grace. And then he glorified Vaishnavas, irrespective of a caste, creed, in country which they are born. They are always superior to the Brahmanas. And they were the gathered Brahmanas there who were so orthodox and fanatics. They were not able to accept that. Few of them immediately planned a conspiracy to kill Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Brahmana means who gives and protects the life of other living entities. And here the so-called Jati Gosais or Jati Brahmanas, Brahmanas by birth, they were not able to accept the supremacy of a Vaishnavas as explained in the scripture. So they were going against the scripture to protect their so-called position in the society. But only you can attain perfection of your life in the human society by cooperating the different classes of a man. As Prabhupada clearly says here, the very culture are trained for the attainment of a human perfection by total cooperation of a services between the different divisions of a social order. Unless and until Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Shudras and Kshatriyas, they cooperate each other, the society will not be able to attain the perfection of human life. And first and foremost thing that really shows your internal agenda of any activity that you do in this world. The most essential thing is food. Man can be known by the food that he eats. And anything that offered to the Lord becomes sinless. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mamanandava. Lord says the prime qualification to worship the Lordship is to get rid of the sins. Someone may be a pious. He never commits any sort of a sins. But if you don't take offered food, whom of it is offered? To the Lord, or prasad, or the remnants of the Lord, then that person eats only a sin. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says. And Prabhupada has quoted that from the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 13th verse. Yo bhunkte sastena eva saha. Without offering it to their Lordship, if someone eats that, it is nothing but sin that he is eating. And whatever you eat, that you become. Jaisa khai ann vaisa bane man. What sort of a grains that that sort of a mind you get. If you eat a pure food, you will become pure in your mind. And if you eat impure thing, you may be outwardly so-called modern civilized human being, but you will not be a human being. You will be a sinful dvipad pashu, a two-legged civilized animal. Then you might wonder, Yadus, they followed everything at the Prabhasa Kshetra. Then why they fought and killed each other like animals? What was the reason behind that? then Prabhupada says next. The word Ururasam is also significant here. Hundreds of sorry, delicacies can be prepared simply by the combination of grains, vegetables, and milk. All such preparations are in the mode of a goodness and therefore may be offered to the personality of a Godhead, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparatam ashnami prayatatmanaha. The Lord accepts only foodstuff which are within the range of fruits, flowers, leaves, and liquids, provided they are offered in a complete devotional service. Devotional service is the only criterion for a bona fide offering to the Lord. The Lord assures that He positively eats such a foodstuff offered by the devotees. So, judging from all sides, the Yadus were perfectly trained, civilized person, and their being cursed by the Brahmana sages was only by the desire of the Lord. The whole incident was a warning to all concerned that no one should behave lightly with the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So this is the whole essence of this chapter, what you can understand. Unless and until you respect or serve Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, you will be not able to please their lordship. That's why don't offend Brahmins or Vaishnavas by your vacha, by your words, and by your deeds. If you displease them, then how powerful you may be in this material world, you will get destroyed. And we have examples for that. Look at the Hiranyakashipu. Just by mere eyebrows, movements of his eyebrows, he used to control the material nature. The big demigods. When he offended Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, what happened to him? He was torn apart just like a sugar cane is torn apart by the elephants. Huh? Big so-called human civilization, they got destroyed just by offending Brahmanas or Shudras. Just recently, few thousand or 100 years back, one king, ruthlessly he offended one Brahmana, and he has to lose from roots of his family. They totally destroyed from the roots. King of Magad and Chanakya. If it happens with one Brahmana, if you offend, and you offend thousands of Brahmanas, what will happen to you then? And if you please, on the other hand, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, Lord is immediately pleased with you. He bestows the most selected blessings on that living entities. Then He overlooks all your sins, faults that you may have, but He takes care of you. And if not, then mrityur sarva harasya. Whatever you may possess, that is ultimately harati. That all is taken away from you by the Lord, whatever you may love. So, in conclusion, that if you want to please The media is Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, through which you can please their lordship. And that's why every day morning we sing the last stanza of Mangalarti. What is that? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadam nagati kutopi. If you please, then you can please the Lordship. You displeased, then whom you are displeasing? The Lordship. Dhyayam stuvam stasya yashastri sanya vande Shri Guru Charanaravindam. And that's why one should glorify the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, especially your spiritual master. All the three sandhyas in a day. And that's the secret of making progress in spiritual life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord's Pastimes out of Vrindavan. So any doubt, any question, any queries, any comment? Sorry? Come back again? Hmm. What is the reference for that?
How can Brahmins become, regain their true position? So, falling down to Shudra level because of the curse.
Not all the Brahmanas. There are Brahmanas in the society, that's why the human civilization is running by their pious credit. If they are not there, then everywhere there will be disaster. And to protect them, Lord appears. Why he came as a Gauranga? To protect his own devotees. There are devotees, that's why the world is going. Prabhupada said it is in that regard, people who claims themselves to be Brahmanas by birth. He says these are not real Brahmanas. Just by putting two annas, that's thread, no one becomes Brahmana. But the person who is by quality, he may be born any of Varna. But if he knows Brahman, if he knows the absolute truth, he is considered as a Brahmana. Brahma janati sa Brahmana. Who knows the absolute. And that is spoken by the Yajnavalkya Rishi. One of the person who is Rishi for the Vedic mantras. So this whole Varnashram system is not by birth, it's by karma that you do. There are the Brahminical people, that's why the still Vedic institution is going on. Amongst 100 there may be a 5% of Brahmanas. But because of that 5%, the whole 95% people are able to live their lives properly. Otherwise it's a chaos. In Mahabharata it is explained. Mother Earth, she gives whatever resources she has because there are few people who are using that resources for the benefit of the human society. And they may have borne any caste and creed, but because of their devotion to the Lord and using everything in the Lord's service, Mother Earth is providing that to everyone. Like if you just look back and see the different acharyas of different sampradayas, most of them, they are born in Brahmana family, and they preached about the Vedic teachings. And look at his divine grace. He was not born of a Brahmana family. He was a day from Malik family, who are the mercantiles or traders. But what he has done? We have glorious South Indian Brahmanas in the South India. They are following their traditions for thousands of years. None of them came and spread this Krishna consciousness to this Western people. But who did that? A person who was born in a mercantile family but took up Krishna consciousness as a goal of her life, used it, practiced it in his life, and he preached it. And that's why here it is written, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Even Vaishnavas are far superior than Brahmanas, because Brahmanas just have a knowledge of the absolute truth, but Vaishnavas has a practical application of that knowledge. And because of their presence, everything is running in this world. So sometimes what happens, because of immaturity, because of our immaturity of our thoughts and words, we perform certain kind of deeds that offends Brahmanas. So that need to be avoided. We may take some wrong notions from the Acharya's word. Oh no, Prabhupada said that there are no Brahmanas. Then why he has created this institute? There are Brahmanas who can create Brahmanas, otherwise how it will happen? Just don't stick to one side of a coin. There is another coin side also. That need to be understood. And that's why it is said that when you hear, need to be thought, contemplate, and then assimilated, digested, and then again it's spoken. And if you speak without any maturity or any proper understanding, it will not help, neither you nor the society. And Acharya's words need to be thought and then repeated. Unless you understand them, just to repeat it, it is also very dangerous. Because in what reference, what they have said is totally different sometimes. If you see Prabhupada's instructions also to his disciple, it seems to be totally contradictory for the same thing. It depends upon the time, place and circumstances when they have spoken it. So that reference need to be understood. Otherwise you will misrepresent or interpret on the Acharya's words. And in Iskcon they have a very lame excuse. Anything they want to put forward, Prabhupada says, where? Maybe somewhere. But what is the reference for that? Last 2 decades it was so prominent for anything, Prabhupada said. Because no one has read Prabhupada so thoroughly, so you can just put forward anything on the Prabhupada's name. But now, whenever they used to say something, they have to think twice, thrice, because there are people who are well read, well versed in Prabhupada books. They can just smash it down. Hey Baba, where it is said? Give the reference. Which book, which text, which shloka, which purport. Because now there are people who are really reading Prabhupada books. They are distributed in billions now. And there are at least million people who can really knew that what Prabhupada wants. And that's why it is spreading like a wild forest fire. People are taking up Krishna consciousness. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की. Thank you. See, that is concocted. That verse was created by this arch. Yes.
But why was Dharmanada at Brahmana also sloka is there? But many people doesn't know they are using this sloka.
See, this is what, see,
Not easy to make.
that's the work of the Indologists. They came and they created this blunder. Actually, this word this is from the Manusmriti, but it is not nowhere in this Manusmriti. I read. It is not there. This was concocted by this Arya Samaj people. They have given this. In their version of a Manusmriti, they wrote this, that Janmana Jayate Shudro Samskare Bhavet Dvijaha.
And Dharmanada at Brahmana sloka is there in Purana, but nobody is writing that because they want to gather the mass of.
They wanted to put a secularism, nothing else. That's not the way of a life. See, in the Vedas, there are so many verses. Like it is said, there's one particular verse that it says, Daivadhina Jagat Sarvam. Daivadhinam Jagat Sigalam, Mantradhinam Cha Devataha. Te mantra Brahmanadina. So Brahmana Tada Uttama, it is said. And who is Brahmana? If you read the Grahya Sutras, Grahastha Sutras, which are given by the different rishis, they say it is by birth. Because by birth, that Brahmana has some qualification, that's why he has taken birth there. But if he is not properly cultivated, there is a problem. Even it is said, if there is a Brahmana, if he is a well versed in the Vedas, you should honor him, you should respect him, you should accept him as a spiritual teacher.
History we can see one rishi wants to become a Brahmana.
Jabali.
Itna struggle करना पड़ा.
See, it is there.
Not easy thing.
People, they just misinterpret on the Vedic text. That's the problem. We say that Swabhavaja means what? You get a Swabhava with your birth. Few things that comes along with the birth, you can't change them. That is Swabhavaja. You get this Swabhava from the birth. So if someone is born of a Brahmana family, by nature he is good, is in the mode of goodness. But if he is not properly cultivated, that's another way. Even when Ravana got killed by Lord Ramachandra did Prayaschitta for a Brahmatya. Brahmana is Brahmana. Even if he is not well versed, he is not educated, he is not doing any Brahmana work also, you should not offend. That's what the Vedic text says. You should respect him. But that does not mean Brahmana should claim that I should be respected. If that is there, then that's a demon. Kill him first. In the Vedic text, as per the Anushasana Parva of Mahabharata, it is clearly explained, Brahman avadhya. Brahmana should not be killed. Whatever sinful act he may have done.